Hello everyone, my name is Syntax and welcome to a Wayfinder guide. In this guide, I will teach you all the stats and what each of stats does, as it seems like Airship Syndicate forgot to put tooltips on this, and it's actually not that complicated, so here we go. First of all, how can I check my stats? In order to do that, you need to go to your character screen. This can be done on PC by pressing C or do whatever the console players has to do to go to this screen, character screen. That's it. Here you'll see your character name, your level and your affinities, and also 9 stats. Also these stats related to your affinity, which I will not go through in this video as Affinity deserves its own video. Now here you have max health, resilience, weapon power, ability power, crit rate, crit power, break power, I think it's physical defense, and then mag defense. So first of all, let's start with max health. It's the amount of health your character has. In this case, I have 778. This is my max health. Every stats you see here are your total stats value with all the modifiers and everything. So you will get an idea what kind of character build you're going for, what kind of weakness your character has to different versions of things. So max health is your maximum amount of health. This means that how much hit points you have before you will go down. Once you reach 0 health, you will go in down state. This doesn't matter which content you do, every content will have this down state mechanics where other players can come and revive you. If they fail to do so, if you choose, you can die and you will be respawned at the nearest respawn point. Unlike the most stats on the screen, Resilient isn't that obvious. Resilient basically is your guard meter. You can see this on your health bar. On top of it you see a orangish yellowish bar, and when you get hit this bar will decrease, and if it go to 0 your guard will break. Now when your guard broken, enemies can struggle you and your abilities and other casting stuff will be obviously get disrupted. This means you won't be able to fight back efficiently until you fall back and get your resilience, or this times the guard, back. This also applies to enemies as well. You can see their resilient meter on top of their health bar. By breaking this meter, you can also stagger your enemies as well. Some enemies doesn't have a resilient meter or resilient stats. This means you can actually attack them and you can see them stagger every single time. This is a very useful thing to know, and also useful stats to keep in mind when you build your characters. If you want to build a huge tank with huge resilient amount of time, this is the stats you should go for. Also keep in mind, if you're building a squishy character, resilience is a must, because if your resilience get broken, you will have a hard time fighting against enemies. Next on the list is weapon power. Now the weapon power works like this. This is the amount of damage your weapon will deal. 160 is the flat amount of damage your weapon will do. Now remember this doesn't mean your character will do 1000 damage, because it's not how it works. It's percentage based and there's a lot of calculation going on behind the scenes. Use these stats to get an idea how much weapon power you have, so you know how hard your weapon hits. Similar to weapon power, your ability power determines how much damage your abilities does. This also include your weapon efficiency with damage. Ability power will determine how much damage your abilities does. So this gives you an idea how to build your character in a way. If you want to have more ability power based character, like in this scenario, Ness is very good with her first ability that dash through enemies and deal a lot of damage, and having more ability power means I can do a lot of damage with that ability. Next up is crit rating and crit power. I'm going to talk both of them in the same time because they both are obviously related. Crit rating determines how much of a chance there is for your attacks to be a critical hit. The bigger the number, the higher chance your attacks are being critical. Now crit power on the other hand is how much damage you deal with your crit attack. So mean having higher crit range and higher crit power mean you will do a huge amount of damage. This is a very important stat for new characters that has very less health but can do significant amount of damage to enemies. This is how basically it works. Crit rating means how often you can crit. Crit power mean how much damage you deal. Next on the list is break power. Now like we talked about earlier, resilient is your break. So when you break your break, you literally broken. So okay, Anyway, your break power mean how fast you can break your enemies resilient. So resilient meter, as I would call it, it's called God, but I like to call it resilient meter because it makes more sense in my mind. So I will call it resilient meter. The break power mean how fast you can break enemies resilient. Having higher numbers mean you can break resilient faster and make your enemies basically incapable of performing any actions. Breaking enemies resilient mean that they won't be able to cast abilities or do their routine attacks because your attacks actually struggle them, so it's good to have higher struggle breaking if you want to disturb your enemy's abilities and such. It's good to have that power at max. Currently I have 159. That's not much, but anyway, you get the idea. Alright, now we have on the list is physical defense and mag defense. This is how it works. Physical defense are mostly your melee attacks. These are basic attacks performed by enemies. So this is to determine how resisting are you to this damage type. Physical damage basically comes from form of melee damage and such, and also this apply to range attacks as well. But mag defense is the enemy's ability power. So basically enemies will cast abilities and they do also have their ability powers as well. Mag defense actually max defense negate how much ability damage you'll receive from enemies' abilities. Physical damage will negate how much damage you get from their basic attacks or melee attacks, range attacks, their basic attacks obviously. Increasing these two stats make you more resilient or actually more tanky, and if you go for a tank build, recommend these. So guys, that's the very basics of your stats, and this is actually very basic guide explaining you what each individual stats mean. I did not go into detailed numbers, all the build stuff. This is just give you an idea what each stat does, because Airship Syndicate did a very poor job adding tooltips to this damn game. So for love of God, Airship Syndicate add some tooltips so we players don't have to seek out YouTube videos and wiki pages, so that we have an idea how the game mechanics stuff works. So thank you guys for watching, hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more Wayfinder contents. You will see more Wayfinder content on this channel from moving forward, because this is a game that I was so excited to play. I finally got a chance to play. God damn it. Oh my god. Please subscribe.